is Chris. We are also covering for a member for Tim Nicole, who is unable to be here because of a health emergency. So this is a brief overview of how our presentation is going to look like. We will start off with an overview of the company, and then we will go over to the analysis, the different analysis we have for Spruceland, and then we will talk about the alternatives we have chosen and why we have chosen them, and then we will look at the implementation, how long it will take us to complete the whole program, and then how much it's going to cost us. So we identified some major gaps between Spruceland's current position and where they want to go, where Spruceland is right now and where Spruceland wants to go. We identified some gaps present in the company. So these are some of the gaps we identified. Undervalued stocks. The second gap is the offer to buy off some assets to increase value to shareholders. And the third is the economic slump. So to bridge those gaps, we have some solutions that we brought up to the table to consider a share buyback program, to accept that offer, and to invest in excess capital. So if we can be able to bridge this gap, we have been able to solve the problem Spruceland is facing. So let's see what we can do.
Hello, I will be talking about the qualitative analysis. The primary strength of Spruceland Properties is their conservative financial position, which will allow them to purchase discounted properties due to the economic slowdown. The primary weakness of the company is the overissuance of undervalued shares. And again, this presents a threat during the fluctuating oil prices and the economic slump. Our socioeconomic analysis. Spruceland Properties is a social enterprise. They started off by wanting to give back to the Slave Lake community members. Originally, it was called Slave Lake Development, and they originally sold their shares at $1 a piece to Slave Lake members. The goal of this company is to generate local economic development. And if you choose Fabulous Consulting, we feel that our share buyback program and the continuation of the dividend reinvestment program will allow that local economic development to continue within the Slave Lake region. Key success factors. We have 4 key success factors here. Our first one stems from cost and efficiency, and that is the purchase of low-price assets during an economic slowdown. The quality of the firm stems from their conservative financial position to weather dropping real estate prices. The timing is now. It is now the time to restructure the firm. And with the historical drop in oil prices, this presents an opportunity for Spruceland to restructure. Lastly, innovation. Our innovative share buyback program will generate value for shareholders while still allowing the company to remain solvent.
Okay, so these are the alternatives that are based on the Spruceland's mission statements. We have identified these alternatives. The first one is to restructure. So we want Spruceland to sell those commercial assets and use the proceeds to buy other discounted assets during the economic slowdown. So because of the increased cash flow that would be present based on this acceptance of that offer, it would help to restructure the firm. The second alternative is to consider a share buyback program. This is, the idea behind this is to call the shares back at the book value because we want to decrease supply and increase scarcity, and also to gather value and profit for the shareholders so that the shareholders actually have value for the shareholders. The third alternative is to dissolve, which is to sell all the assets and distribute the profit to the shareholders. We would not be recommending this alternative because of Spruceland's missions. So this is a more, this is the alternatives weighed against the key success factors. And these key success factors, once again, are the success factors that need to be put in place for Spruceland to be successful and solvent in the industry. So the first, the green smiley faces are the most positive changes, the most positive outcomes. The red neutral faces means no change, whether we choose it or not. It doesn't bring any different. It doesn't. And then the blue sad faces means a negative change. The restructure It's a neutral phase because it would cost us some money to invest in this, to consider this. But for quality, it's a positive. It's positive for our quality. It gives us good quality. It gives the shares value. For time, it would cost us, it would take some time for this program to be put in place, but we have an implementation schedule, next slide, that we would walk you through how to do it so that it would only take a 2-year time period. For the innovation, this would be a good idea because it would keep the company innovative and solvent in the industry, and it would also raise that value that the company wants because of the undervalued shares. Customer efficiency, so for the share buyback program, it's a sad phase because it would cost us 50% to buy back all the shares, to buy back 50% of the shares. But as for the other results, it's a positive changes. The quality of the shares would be great. The timing would be perfect because we have an implementation schedule that walks you through when to start and how to go about it. And innovation, yes, it would make the shares strong and very valuable. So for the solution, we will not be recommending that because it's all negative to the company, and because the company's mission statement is to get the community members as involved in the ownership of the business. We will not be recommending this because we actually want to respect that mission statement and get the community members involved and invested in the company. So this is an implementation schedule of how to go about implementing this plan. So on the left side is the restructure, which we recommended, and the share buyback program, which we also recommended. So we will kick this off right away with accepting the offer on February 29th. So February 29th, we will accept that offer to sell off 90% of those assets. Second, we will right away announce the share buyback program at AGM. The next year, following the next year, 2017, we will look around the environment to see which properties are already being put to sell, so we can invest in discounted properties. And we can be picky because we cannot accept any property that is just put to sell at a discount because we have the cash on hand, because we've accepted this offer that is already on the table. So we can afford to choose which ones we want to purchase, and we have the cash on hand to purchase it in cash. And then we will, by the fiscal year end of the 2017, we will be reevaluating our portfolio, making changes, making adjustments, twisting the plan, the implementation. So this is our timeline for this alternative that we have recommended. This is our 2-year timeline.
The cost phase. After accepting the sale of 93% of commercial assets, and also after repurchasing 50% of all outstanding shares at $34.9 billion, which represents half of the cash that is received from the sale, the overall cash will increase by 200%. At the same time, this will decrease debt on properties by 69%. Furthermore, there will be a $6.1 billion gain on the sale of assets, which then increases the book value of the shares by 10%. And as you can see, the outstanding shares are $1.38 million, and our goal is to have that just under 700,000. To conclude, we really wish that Spruceland Properties would go with Fabulous Consulting. We hope that our share buyback program, along with accepting the sales offer, will put Spruceland Properties in a great position to restructure the firm. In the end, our numbers, looking at the numbers, we have $14 million debt on properties, we have $7 million in investment assets, and we have $51 million in cash. When we sell the shares to the shareholders, 50% of those shares will be sold to them. This generates, we will be selling those shares at $50.69, which generates a profit of $23 per share to the shareholders. This will allow the company to continue reinvesting in the Slave Lake community through this share buyback payout. Furthermore, our main goal is, when we repurchase the shares, is to repurchase 25% of 300 shareholders which are not in the Slave Lake region, and also to repurchase 25% of the shareholders that are in the Slave Lake region. Our goal here is to continue Spruceland Properties to be a social enterprise with 100% equity in the Slave Lake region. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, judges, we're open to any questions now that you've had for the presenters.
Well, I don't understand how the share buyback program will enhance the value of the shares.
The share, by calling back the shares are a debt instrument, as we all know, and by calling back those shares, we have less exposure to pay off that debt to our shareholders, and therefore we will keep the company within the hands of Slave Lake members with 100% equity within the region. And by reducing the amount of our shares outstanding, it puts the company in a better position to reinvest the excess cash into purchasing discounted properties and also to pay down debt on properties. I hope I answered your question.
SIB stands for what?
SIB is the substantial issuer bid, which is the same as our share buyback program.
So the shares are going to be bought back at $50?
At $50.39. The current value of the shares is $22, so the profit per share will be $28.39. So we think this will be an appropriate value for the shareholders. They will essentially gain 100% of their value on the shares when we repurchase them. If we were to take the time to pay out this money to the shareholders with dividends, it'll take a period of 7 years. Whereas with our share buyback program, it takes a period of 6 months.
So how much were you proposing to distribute? How many? You said $39 million?
$39.4 million will be distributed to the shareholders to purchase 50% of all outstanding shares. That's correct.
There's 1.4 million shares, 700,000 shares. You're going to buy back 700,000 shares of $50
Each, yes. And in our financial slide, you can see the breakdown there at the bottom.
So the remaining shareholders, how is their share value enhanced?
How is their share value enhanced? Because of the $6.1 million gain on the sale, the book value of the shares will increase by 10%. And so we are enhancing their value by sticking with the social enterprise model. We want to concentrate the economic development in the Slave Lake region, and we feel this is the best approach to accomplish that.
I have a question. You mentioned purchasing these discounted assets,
Yes.
and I'm just curious. So that seems very, I guess, speculative,
Right.
because we're assuming that we're able to sell assets we already own at a gain, and yet there's these assets that are discounted in the market. And so I'm just wondering, are we hoping to purchase those in thinking that their value is going to rise, or what are we going to do with those discounted assets upon purchase?
Well, there is an offer on the table as of December 16th, 2015, that is the sales offer to purchase 93% of commercial assets.
Right, I understand that.
Sorry.
No, thank you. I do understand that. It was the purchase discounted properties.
Yes.
That's the piece I want you to explain to me more. So
Okay.
what are we hoping to achieve by purchasing these discounted properties?
Overall, we have $51 million cash on hand.
Mm-hmm.
We have $7 million in investment on properties. We're hoping and with the market projections, real estate values have decreased at this time because of the historic drop in oil prices. And so by evaluating the acquisition of new assets that have decreased in value, we're hoping that, as the economy will pick up again, these assets will also increase in value and therefore present an opportunity for our shareholders. So with that $51 million in cash, we are considering using that money to pay off the debt on properties, which is $14 million, as much as we can without suffering a penalty, and then using other funds to acquire new assets. And that will be carefully selected by the board. Each asset will be analyzed so that there is a return on the investment. We don't want to just put this money out there and then, oh my goodness, there's another economic slowdown, we just lost millions of dollars.
Okay, thank you.
And adding to that, there are already some properties, because as of February 2016, there are already been discounted prices. So like I mentioned before, Spruce Land properties have the right to be picky. If the board decide as a group that those properties are worthless now, then they don't have to invest in it. But as of February 2016, we found some properties already in the market. So that's why we recommended maybe looking at it, the board deciding together which ones to invest in and which ones to not invest in.